lineups. First, for the visiting Rams. Number 15, Julia Taylor. Number 31, Ella Randazzo. Number 33, Amanda Rosen. Number 40, Amanda Mack. And number 45, Anna McGurk. Head coach, Dan Royce. And now the starting lineup for your Fort Lee Bridgman. Number 1, Layla Jones. Number 2, Janelle Lewis. Number 5, Catalina Gill. Number 12, Alice Imazoglu. And number 23, Olivia Hausman. Head coach, Kelly Lane. At this time, we ask that you please rise and remove your hats as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem. Thank you. Let's play ball.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome here inside East Gymnasium at Fort Lee High School. As today it's a matchup between the Ramsey Rams, 15-9 on the season, and the Fort Lee Bridgman, 19-5 overall this winter. Hello, everyone. I'm Dan Long, joined alongside by Renee Matisich and Dimitri Nanis. So glad that he could join us here, courtesy of the Fort Lee Athletic Department. Well, this is going to be a great test for both teams as we are closing in on the end of the regular season and the beginning of the postseason. Both these teams double-digit victories on the season. Both teams about to be their respective number 4 seed in their upcoming playoff brackets. Ramsey garnered the number 4 seed in North 1 Group 2, while Fort Lee, with their 19 wins, the 4 seed in North 2 Group 3. Rams are coached by Dan Royce. Kelly Lane in her first season, looking for her 20th victory in her debut season as the head coach here at Fort Lee. Bridgman in the white, the Rams in the blue, and the tip is won back by Ramsey. Ramsey got here a little later. That is why the start time was moved back a bit. As that's tipped out of bounds, will stay with Fort Lee. Bridgman trying for their 20th win of the season. What a season it has been here in Fort Lee. Champions of the Big North American Division made it to the Bergen County tournaments, as well as winning a game in the county tournament, and now getting one of the top 4 seeds in their respective bracket as well. They're looking for more against a very good Ramsey side. Ramsey coming in off a loss their last time out against Paramus. Before that, they had won 5 in a row. Fort Lee coming in off a loss against Ramapo. Down low on the block, turnaround shot, and banked home by Amanda Rosen. And Rosen starts off the scoring for the visitors. 2-0 lead for Ramsey. Amanda Rosen is the star here for the Rams, number 33 in blue. She averages a double-double. just under 16 points per game and just around 11 rebounds per contest. She's going to be one to watch here today for the visitors. One to watch inside there. That time missing was Janelle Lewis. Lewis averages 25 points per game for Fort Lee. Rosen going coast to coast with a left-hand finish. Rosen already with 4, and a foul also on the play, so count the basket and a chance at a 3-point play. Amanda Rosen had 10 points, 3 rebounds, 3 blocks against Paramus their last time out. It was an off game by her standards. Rosen already up to 5 points in the first 2 possessions. That foul was against Layla Jones, her first, team's first. And quickly a 5-0 start to this game for Ramsey. Straightaway 3, no good. Rebound underneath by Julia Taylor. So Janelle Lewis 0 for 2 from the field to start off. Transition 3, rattled in and out. Lewis skies for the rebound. Lewis leads the team in rebounds and points per game. Layla Jones getting to Hausman. Hausman, a deep 3. That would have been good from collegiate range for Olivia Hausman. Hausman, who is a 3-point specialist as well, getting the start in this lineup to stretch the defense. Gets Fort Lee on the board, and there's going to be a foul on the way up, as that'll send Ramsey to the foul line with Hannah McGurr, the sophomore. That foul went against Hausman, her first, team second. McGurr missing on the first foul shot opportunity. She leads Ramsey with 44 made threes on the season, so much like Hausman, she is a specialist from behind the arc. Missed on a pair of foul shots, though, as Ava Zoglu tips it out and Hausman collects the rebound. Try to feed Ava Zoglu, filling the lane, but it tipped off of Ellis's fingers and out of bounds for a turnover for Fort Lee. Down by 2, 5-3 as we come up on 2 minutes gone by here in the first quarter. Rosen tried to leave that off. Lewis stole it away. Lewis goes in for the layup, and she's on the board. Janelle Lewis, again, one of the most fearsome scorers in New Jersey basketball, averaging over 25 points per game. 18 times this season, she has eclipsed 20 points or more in a game. There's a step back 3, a little too ambitious. Now that's going to lead to a breakout the other way for Jones. And Fort Lee with a 7-0 run have taken the lead at 7-5. Layla Jones and Janelle Lewis, a pair of seniors who came here to Fort Lee this season to play their senior season. They have been revelations for this Bridgman program, helping lead the Bridgman to a league title. Now looking for the 20th win of the season. This has already surpassed the 17 wins from the Bridgman team that went to the sectional finals a couple of seasons ago. Some contact inside. It's going to be last touch off of Gill and Fort Lee. Kelly Lane in her first season at the helm. Former standout in her own right, scored over 1,200 points in high school at Ridgefield Park. A league rival of Fort Lee. She has been great in her debut as the varsity coach here. Rosen, spin around shot, no good. Fouls her own miss. Again, missed inside, and that time Hausman vacuums up the loose ball. Ava Zoglu in the open floor. There's Jones, sets and fires from deep, no good. That's rebound underneath by Taylor. Ramsey looking to push it themselves. Rams moving down the floor, good recovery defense. Here's a chuck from 3, and nothing but net there for Amanda Mack. Mack with the long-range shot gives Ramsey back the lead and stops that 7-0 spurt for Fort Lee. Coming up on the midway point to the first quarter. Lewis got blocked on her way to the rim. Recovers, now in the corner, sets and fires, and cans the 3 of her own. You cannot give her an inch. She is explosive. 54 now made threes on the season for number 2 in white. Got her first shot blocked and then recovered her own blocked shot. Found an opening in the near side corner right in front of our broadcast area and canned the 3. So Janelle Lewis now up to 5 points in the quarter. Foul on the floor against Ellis Ava Zoglu. Her first, 13 foul against Fort Lee. Ramsey has yet to commit a foul here in the opening vestiges of the first. That almost was a banked-in three for Ramsey. No good after Amanda Mack was trying to double her pleasure in terms of a back-to-back three. Here's Catalina Gill. Handing it off to Hausman. No one picks up Hausman, and that's easy pickings for a dead-eye shooter. Olivia Hausman now with 5 points, and Fort Lee with their largest lead of the game, 12-8. Jones defending against Taylor. Another long-range three, no good by Ramsey. That time it was McGurr trying to set it and fire. Another rebound for Ava Zoglu. Hausman hands it off to Lewis. Lewis down to Hausman. Up top straight away to Gill. Gill is a dangerous three-point shooter in her own right. Now Layla Jones, who leads the team with 3 assists per game. Patient offensive set here for the Bridgemen. Coming up on 2:45 and counting left to go in the first. Here's Gill. Getting stripped as she was trying to dribble her way over to the side, and that's stolen away. Turnover forced by Ramsey. Rosen quickly pushing the pace, got fouled in the act of shooting. Fort Lee's been fouling at a high clip so far in this first quarter. And once again, it's going to be Amanda Rosen, the senior, trying to head to the line to try to add to her point total. She's the leading scorer for the Rams with 5 points so far in this first quarter. Rosen drains the first foul shot. She's 2 for 2 at the line. Coming into this game, Rosen, 957 career points. So she's closing in on that 1,000-point threshold that is so important and such a big milestone for a basketball player. She's got 7 here in the first quarter alone for Ramsey. Lead is down to 2, 12-10 for Fort Lee. Lewis behind the back. What a good dribble move. The penetration and the bucket falls. Lewis did a little bit of everything to get around her defender. Hesitation dribble behind her back, leaner, and got it to finish. Janelle Lewis also with 7 points in this game. Posting up inside, clear height advantage for Ramsey, but that shot missed. Now Fort Lee stops and bops. It's Jones with a rainbow three. And Fort Lee is nailing them from 3 so far here in the first quarter. They have knocked down 3 made threes in the contest. Largest lead is now 7, 17-10, Bridgman. Rosen picks up the dribble, looks for a teammate. Under 1:45 left to go. Good penetrating move, and the finish with the left hand by Ella Randazzo. Randazzo on the board for the first time for the senior. 17-12 lead coming up on the final 90 seconds of the first quarter here at East Gymnasium. Hausman, again, another look from 3, no good. Sophia Pagan, who's just come into the game off the bench with the offensive rebound. Pagan on the baseline, driving and dishing it up top, and now Ramsey will be called for their first foul of the game with 1:13 left to go here in the first. And it looks like Dan Royce, the head coach for Ramsey, wants to call a timeout and talk things over with his team trailing by 5, 17-12. After Pagan saved that possession by tipping it out to her teammate and then eventually drew the foul. Rams earned the number 4 seed in the North 1 Group 2 sectional playoffs. Will host number 13 seed West Milford on February 21st in their playoff round. In that group, Jefferson, the top overall seed, Morris Tech, the number 2 seed, and Glenrock, the number 3 seed, right above Ramsey. Fort Lee, the number 4 seed in North 2 Group 3, the top overall seed will be Randolph, followed by Chatham at number 2 and Milburn at the number 3 seed. So that means that Fort Lee would be guaranteed at least 2 more home games here inside East Gymnasium if they win in the first 2 rounds of the postseason with that number 4 seed. Out of the timeout, Lewis will inbound it up top to Layla Jones. Jones giving it off to Lewis. Lewis coming off a 16-point performance in the loss against Ramapo. It's one of her lower scoring games of the season. Lewis behind the back, sets and fires. 3 no good, rebounded by Rosen. 55 seconds and counting left to go here in the first. Rosen getting picked up there by Lewis. Rams attacking towards the rim, fumbled it out of bounds. Last touch off of Ramsey. As Alana Chatatis, who had just come into the game, number 3, couldn't get that clean handle. As we come up on 45 seconds left to go here in the first. Ramsey jumped out to an early 5-0 lead, but then Fort Lee settled down, started to connect from downtown as well. Elbow jumper barely grazed the rim. Ava Zoglu tried to throw it up herself. She misfired. Now here's the swarming full court pressure by Fort Lee. Ball's popped out of space right in front of our broadcast area. Goes out of bounds, last touch off of the Bridgman with 23.6 seconds left to go in our first quarter. So a couple of opportunities on that possession, just not cashed in by the Fort Lee offense. Lead remains 5. Ramsey in the near corner. Jones defending. McGurr trying to get it around the horn. Rams cutting towards the middle of the lane. They draw the contact and the foul on the way up. Chatatis doing a good job of being aggressive there off the dribble. And for Kelly Lane, that's going to be the 5th team foul of the quarter now for the Bridgman. So it means that most likely Ramsey will have plenty of foul shot opportunities for the remainder of this half. Chatatis hits the first foul shot. That's her first point of the game. Ava Zoglu will come out. That foul was charged against Pagan. Coach Lane doesn't want her starting center picking up another foul here just before the end of the quarter. Ramsey goes 1 of 2 that trip to the line as that heave is off the mark. As Fort Lee will take a 17-13 lead after the first quarter of play. Stick around, fans, as we'll be back for the start of the second as you're watching all the action here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. Last meeting between these two sides came last January 25th on the road at Ramsey. Ramsey won going away 56-27 against Fort Lee. Ramsey has won the last 2 meetings in this series between the two sides. Fort Lee is looking for their first win since January 7th of 2020, a 39-30 win here inside East Gymnasium. 1 quarter in the books, and the Bridgman on top by 4, 17-13. I'm Dan Long, joined alongside by Dimitri Nanis and Renee Matisic. Glad that he could join us here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. Layla Jones with a scoop shot, no good inside with a floater. Ava Zoglu crashing the offensive glass for the putback finish. Ellis's first 2 points of the afternoon. Fort Lee's lead back to 6, 19-13. Ramsey operating from behind the 3-point line. As Chisani Shellman is coming to the game for the first time, number 13 in blue. Here's Rosen, who struck for 7 points in that opening quarter. Hustle play in the corner for Fort Lee. Deflected last touch out of bounds off of Ramsey as Sophia Pagan got that initial steal produced and then had it deflect off a Ramsey player last. Janelle Lewis scored 7 points in the opening quarter for Fort Lee. Lewis, though, has her pass intercepted by Shellman. Telegraphed that one. She was trying to get it over to Layla Jones. Both teams trading some turnovers. Another look from 3 for Ramsey, no good that time by Taylor. Ramsey knocked in only 1 3 in the first quarter. Fort Lee knocked in 3 threes of their own. Out of bounds, so it's going to be an inbound coming right next to Coach Dan Royce and Ramsey. 15-9 on the season are the Rams. Second place in the Big North Patriot Division. Here's Hausman from outside, no good. Tipped around and saved in play by Taylor. Taylor had 11 points in the loss, along with 7 rebounds against Paramus. Over to Rosen. More of a double team of defense shifting over to Rosen when she touched it. Here's Taylor getting it to Rosen, who flashed at the foul line. Led to an open 3, but no good. This is Lewis. She loves to sprint when she can. She got bumped, I'm going to say before the foul, or before the shot, I should say. And this should be a foul simply on the floor. It is on the floor against Sheldon. Only the second foul of the game for Ramsey, and now it's going to be a third foul. There's going to be a hold as Pagan was the one who was given the ball in the inbound. Here's Pagan to the near side, set and fired, no good. Had a foot on the line of the three-point line. Offensive rebound, though, for the Bridgemen. Here's Layla Jones, again from deep, no good. Another offensive rebound by Pagan. Here's Lewis from deep, no good. Also for the loose ball, Lewis tries to get to it. It's tipped out of bounds, and last touch off of Ramsey. So this long sustained possession for Fort Lee continues because the Bridgemen have been doing all the little hustle plays and winning those 50-50 balls. Despite having the height advantage, Ramsey has not been doing a good job of effectively boxing out against Fort Lee so far here in the first half. Countless number of second and third opportunities. This is a fourth opportunity in this possession. Hausman from deep. No good. Pagan with another offensive rebound. Missed on the putback attempt inside. That's going to be a last touch off of Ramsey, and this long possession continues for the Bridgemen. But can Fort Lee cash in eventually? They've had some great opportunities, just have not been able to get the shots to fall. Jones right back to Lewis. Lewis in the corner. This is where she hit before. No good. Tipped out. Here's the hustle by Jones, who just couldn't save it in time. And that long possession doesn't lead to points, but you have to love the hustle if you're Coach Kelly Lane of what your Bridgemen are doing, trying to sprint all over the floor to garner so many different looks against Ramsey. Ramsey fortunate they had to play a lot of defense there. Lead remains 6, 19-13. Coming up on 3 minutes gone by in the quarter, and that's going to be traveling violation against Ramsey. As Randazzo kind of got caught in between whether or not to keep dribbling or to pass it up. After a hot start from deep, Fort Lee's run cold a little bit since. Nice dribble drive and the payoff inside to Pagan. Lewis with a no-look dish, finding a wide-open Pagan underneath, and Pagan finishes it off with the layup. Her first 2 points of the afternoon. 21-13, Fort Lee leads by 8 over Ramsey. A matchup of two teams, each with double-digit victories on the season. Jones with the thievery, but then her pass got stolen away by Randazzo. That time Jones a little too unselfish. McGurr trying to feed inside. Swarming defense there for Fort Lee. Worked around the side. Now Rosen sets and fires from deep. Off the back iron. Rebounded by Eva Zoglu. As she'll hand it off to Janelle Lewis. Lewis weaves her way to the rim and got fouled as she was cutting towards the rim. We'll see if it's officially going to be deemed fouled in the act of shooting with 4:06 left to go here in the second quarter of action. It will be in the act of shooting, so Lewis will toe the line at the charity stripe. Try to add to her 7 points in the half. Lewis swishes home the first foul shot attempt. Last time we saw her in action here at home against Park Ridge on February 7th, Janelle went for 26 points, 9 rebounds in the win against Park Ridge. Second foul shot too strong. Lewis goes 1 of 2 at the line, 8 points to lead the way in the first half for Fort Lee. Largest lead of the game now for the Bridgemen at 9, 22-13. Rosen, mid-range jumper in the baseline is good. Amanda Rosen is impressive. Game high 9 points now for the senior. Pagan takes her defender off the dribble. Missed on the leaning shot, though. Rebounded underneath by Taylor. Taylor trying to push the pace for the Rams. Split through the double team and banked in the finish. So Taylor with a rebound on one side, took it coast to coast and banked it in. 4-0 spurt here for Ramsey have pulled the Rams back to within 5. Hausman over to Catalina Gill. Gill hasn't gotten a shot off just yet. Here's Layla Jones. Good blanket defense. Hands it off to Pagan. Pagan across the lane and just left the shot short. Pagan's had a couple of good opportunities, just hasn't been able to convert just yet in the last 2 possessions. Under 3 minutes left to go in the first half. Ramsey trying to pull closer. Here's a look from 3. That's way off the mark to the far left side, out of bounds on the air ball. 2:46 left to go in the first half of action. Fort Lee has done a nice job since committing 5 fouls in the first quarter to not foul at all so far here in the second. As now Lewis will make her way patiently up the floor. Fort Lee led 17-13 after 1. They lead 22-17 right now here. 2.5 minutes left to go in the half. Gill inside to Pagan. Pagan sets in fires and unlucky there. Evazoglu, the first attempt no good. Got fouled on the second follow-up. Sophia Pagan has had a couple of great looks in tights and just has not been able to get it to fall since her first made shot of the game. But she has been battling as she's been doing her entire career. Evazoglu gets the first foul shot to fall. 3 points now for Ellis, all here in the second quarter of play. 6-point lead for Fort Lee. 2:22 left to go in the second. Nice touch there. Didn't even touch rim. 4 points now for Evazoglu. And again, those points courtesy of offensive rebounds. That's been the story in this first half. Fort Lee has been devastating on the glass against Ramsey, despite Ramsey having the height advantage. Pagan steals it, but then stepped out of bounds on the near sideline. Great anticipation there by number 22. The senior who began her career as a guard, now operating more as a forward. She's one of those glue players that has helped lead this team to 19 wins this season. Looking for another win here at home. Fort Lee is 9-3 at home this season. Under 2 minutes left to go in the first half. Defense has allowed only 4 points in the quarter to Ramsey. Rosen halfway down, no good. Evazoglu with another rebound. Lewis, shifty dribbling, shadowed every step of the way by Rendazzo. Great defense. Here's Pagan inside, try to feed on the baseline to Jones. Jones just throws it back in, try to save possession, but in the process throws it away. Ramsey trying to break down the way for the other end of the floor, but they miss on the layup. Here's Lewis weaving her way, spin cycle, put the defender by her, but miss on the layup. Rosen collects the rebound. Coming up on a minute left to go in the first half. Losing control was Taylor, couldn't save it as she taps it out of bounds, and this helter-skelter play will give the ball back to Fort Lee. 1:05 left to go in the second quarter of play. Fort Lee has scored only 7 points themselves in the second quarter. It's been a very low-scoring quarter for both teams. But they have increased their lead, which was 4 after 1. And now a bump foul on that pressure defense on top of the key against Ella Rendazzo. Rendazzo will pick up the foul, her first, team 6, so the next foul would send Fort Lee to the foul line for a single bonus. To the backcourt to Jones. Jones had 5 points in the first quarter, scoreless so far here in the second. 40 seconds left to go in the quarter. Ramsey extending that man-to-man defense. Jones, I don't know if that was a shot attempt or she was trying to drop it down low to Evazoglu, but it does end in a turnover. Possession now going back over to Ramsey. Credit the on-ball defense of Hannah McGurr. Did not allow Jones to even think about maybe just running out the remaining seconds of the clock. Both teams playing exceptional defense in this game and on the season. That's the reason why they each have double-digit victories and each are going to be the number 4 seed in their respective sectional tournaments coming up at the beginning of next week. Ramsey allows only 40 points per game, 40.6. Fort Lee, 40.5, almost identical in how good they play defense. (24-17) the lead for Fort Lee. They're being led by Janelle Lewis's 8 points. Amanda Rosen with a game-high 9 for Ramsey. Ramsey trying to make it 6 wins out of their last 7 games. They still have a couple more games. They have 1 more game remaining in the regular season, a home game against Hackensack before then hosting West Milford. So we'll see what Coach Royce diagrammed for his team in the waning moments of this first half of play. Thanks so much for joining us again for this showdown here at Fort Lee High School. Bridgman on top, 24-17. They've led by as many as 9. Taylor nearly got it stolen away. Wins back the possession. 10 seconds left to go in the second. Now Taylor, watched by Jones, dumps it down low to Rosen. Slapped away by Catalina Gill. Here's Lewis with a heave just before halftime as that hits into the stanchion above the rim. And that will take us to the halftime break. Fort Lee on top by 7, 24-17. Stick around as we'll be back for the start of the second half as you're watching Fort Lee girls basketball action here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. Welcome back, everybody, inside East Gymnasium here at Fort Lee High School as we're moments away from the resumption of play in the start of the second half. Fort Lee on top of Ramsey by a score of 24-17. That was an incredibly low-scoring second quarter. We saw a combined 11 points between the two teams. Fort Lee outscored Ramsey 7-4 in the second after outscoring Ramsey 17-13 in the first quarter. Amanda Rosen is the leading scorer in this game for both teams. She's got a game-high 9. Amanda Mack with 3, Ella Randazza with 2, Julia Taylor with 2, and Alana Chatatis with 1 point for Ramsey. Leading scorer for Fort Lee is Janelle Lewis with 8 points. Olivia Hausman and Layla Jones each with 5 points apiece. Ellis Avazoglu with 4, and Sophia Pagan with 2. Pagan will get the start in the second half for the Bridgmen. Fort Lee in their home white. Ramsey in their road navy with a white and gold trim down the sides. I'm Dan Long, joined alongside by Renee Manisic and Dimitri Nanis at the start of this second half. Thanks for watching our continued broadcast coverage of this entire home season here for the Fort Lee Bridgman girls basketball team, looking for their 20th win of the season. Rosen sets and fires to start off the second half, no good. Jones comes out of the pack with the loose ball. She tries to go coast to coast for the layup and will get it. Jones' first points since the first quarter. She's got 7 now for Fort Lee. Layla Jones, who averages just under 12 points per game. Now another turnover forced by Lewis. Lewis goes around the referee, hangs in the air, draws the contact, and Lewis will head to the line to shoot 2. Knew that Hannah McGurr was coming over to her and just had that ability to hang herself in the air to weather the contact and get a chance here with 2 shots to start off the second half. So back-to-back turnovers for Ramsey, leading to opportunities and fast breaks the other way for Fort Lee. Jones misfiring on that foul shot. She's now missed her last 2 at the charity stripe. She's 1 for 3 this afternoon. Janelle had a season-high 41 points at a win here at home against Memorial earlier this season when she knocked down 7 threes in that game. Lewis goes 1 of 2 at the line. Rolls that one in to give her 9 points. She eclipsed the 1,000-point scoring plateau earlier this season. Over 600 points in this, her senior season alone. McGurr across the lane. She got fouled on her way up. We'll see who the foul is going to be going against. Jones, Pagan, Avazoglu, Lewis, and Gill, the 5 in white to start off the second half on the floor for Coach Kelly Lane. Foul will go against Pagan. Missed foul shot, though, by McGurr, who's 0 for 3 at the line so far. Sophomore trying to get on the board with 7:06 left to go here in the third quarter. 10-point lead for Fort Lee. McGurr missing on a pair. Pagan with the hard-nosed rebound. Lewis in the open floor. Defense swarming to her. Look at the speed on full display. Feeds inside Avazoglu. Elbow jumper, no good. Good rebound underneath by Ramsey. Now the Rams trying to push it. And that's going to be a travel before there was a potential reach-in foul whistled against the Bridgmen. Randazzo was a little bit out of control there for Ramsey, who were trying to beat Fort Lee's defense down the floor. They've had to match up in the half court. They've struggled to find openings. Jones with the left-hand dribble. Hands it over to her teammate Lewis. 27-17, largest lead of the game now for Fort Lee, up to 10. Ramsey led early 5-0. They've not led since those early vestiges of the first quarter. Here's Catalina Gill, who was scoreless in the first half. Gill tried to do a little pick and roll, but the pass intended for Pagan was stolen away by Taylor. Taylor got hacked on her way up. And Julia Taylor, the senior guard who averages 9.7 points per game, will try to get to the line and get her 3rd and 4th points of this afternoon's contest. Missed on the foul shot, though. 6 misses at the foul line, now 7 in the game for Ramsey, but they collect the offensive rebound after the miss. But then the ball is eventually turned over. So missed opportunities there after Amanda Mack had collected the loose ball rebound after a pair of foul shots missed by Ramsey. It's just been a lid on the rim here today for the Rams on the road. Pagan, hard-nosed move again across the middle of the lane, missed it. And then, after trying to recover her own miss, gets called for the travel. So it's been a frustrating day for both sides. Shots that they normally hit have not been falling. It's been a defensive affair, 27-17. 5:45 left to go here in the third. Clean look from deep, no good. Trying to box out. Catalina Gill did a good job because coming over her back was Amanda Mack. Mack is not called for the foul, but was deemed to have stepped out of bounds on the baseline. Ramsey has yet to score here in the second half. Fort Lee with 3 points on the board. And now, just before it looked like it was going to be an eventual turnover, timeout was taken and granted to Kelly Lane. That saves possession for Fort Lee. As I mentioned back at the beginning of this game, fans, Ramsey comes in having won 5 out of their last 6 games on the season, looking for their 3rd straight win in this series against Fort Lee. They defeated Pascack Hills, Westwood, Ridgewood, and Mahwah, along with Indian Hills, before having that season-high 5-game win streak snapped with a loss against Paramus, 46-37 their last time out. Fort Lee had a 3-game win streak against Ridgefield Park, Cliffside Park, and Park Ridge, then snapped on the road in Franklin Lakes against Ramapo. And to think that Fort Lee began the season 0-2 with back-to-back losses here at home, then went on a huge run and currently reside at 19-5 on the season, a historic season, one of the best, if not the finest so far in Fort Lee girls basketball history. This is a great game to get them ready and put them in playoff mindset. It feels like a state playoff game here today. Lewis with the extra pass to Pagan. Up top to Ava Zoglu. Ava Zoglu cuts inside, blocked away though by Rosen. Great defensive work inside by the senior Amanda Rosen. Last touch off of her though, so it's going to be possession staying here with Fort Lee. Gill was open. They couldn't find her, though, in the near side corner. The outlet it up top to Lewis. Ava Zoglu. Now to Gill. Gill fires from deep straight away. Banked it in! It wasn't a clean look and delivery, but it was effective. As Catalina Gill gets on the board for the first time in this game. 4th made 3 of the contest for Fort Lee. Largest lead now goes to 13. Lewis with the thievery and the finish on the other side. Janelle Lewis now with 11 points. Ramsey still has not scored here in the start of this second half. 32-17. They've turned it over in bunches. Rosen trying to establish her dominance inside. Fouled her own miss, and she gets the Rams on the board. As Rosen goes, so goes her Rams. 11 points now for Amanda Rosen. She's a walking double-double. 32-19. Ava Zoglu inside, kind of a hook pass. Inside to Pagan, who's parried away on another rejection by Amanda Rosen. Rosen had a season-high 26 points against Dumont earlier this season. Also had a season-high 18 rebounds in a game against Indian Hills. Again, she's closing in on 1,000 career points. Here's Gill again. Sets and fires, no good. Rosen with a good box out. That's going to be a foul whistled over the back against Fort Lee. We'll stop the clock with 3:51 left to go here in the third quarter of action. Ava Zoglu gets called for her 3rd personal foul, so that is a concern as Hausman will come back into the game for her. Now Catalina Gill is called for the reach-in foul. She was trying to pry away that loose possession. Fort Lee, 4 fouls here committed in the third quarter, still with 3:45 left to go in the quarter. So much like they did in the first quarter when they committed 5 fouls, Fort Lee fouling in bunches. But they are producing a ton of steals as well. Lewis a little off kilter. Sets it back now, trying to take her defender off the dribble and does. Hangs in the air. What a layup there by Janelle Lewis. You won't find that many players faster than number 2 in white around Bergen County. She just took her defender right to the cleaners there for the easy lay-in. Lewis up to 13 points in the game. Ramsey desperately needing a 3, but that shot short by McGurr. McGurr tried to force the turnover, but it deflected off her last, as now it's going to be Layla Jones with the inbound upcoming. 3:04 left to go in the third quarter. Fort Lee 34, Ramsey 19. Fort Lee looking for their first win against Ramsey since 2020. A win would also be at that magical threshold, 20 wins on the season for Fort Lee, a team that won 10 games last season. Gill took her defender off the dribble. That one got deflected. It looked like Rosen again, another block for number 33. Ramsey looking to push it. Taken off the baseline, nice move, but shot left a little short by Rendazzo after the defender had fallen down behind her. Now Hausman and Fort Lee setting up on offense. Fort Lee outscoring Ramsey 10-2 in this third quarter alone. It was a 24-17 lead for Fort Lee at the break. Lewis got fouled as she was trying to cut across the middle of the lane with 2:07 left to go in the third quarter. That foul will be charged against Rendazzo, her second, team second. Simple foul on the floor. Inbound upcoming for Jones. Gill over to Jones, near right side. Jones missing on the 3. Lewis, the smallest player on the floor, garnered the loose ball rebound on the offensive side, and then will draw the foul against Ramsey. Janelle Lewis leads the team for Fort Lee, 4.5 rebounds per game this season. Just incredible jumping ability, quick twitch, and despite not having the height, she has the cat-like instincts to get those loose ball rebounds. And Dazzo got clipped from behind by Lewis. That's going to be the 5th team foul against Fort Lee. So again, the fouls are starting to pile up here for the Bridgemen with 1:45 left to go. They will have only one more foul to give, and then it's going to be foul shots the rest of the game for Ramsey. That could give them a boost here as they're going to be trying to claw their way back in the second half. The offense has sputtered a bit. That's going to be another foul. Yes, it is. That's the 6th team foul. Again, it's against Lewis. Lewis picking up her 3rd personal foul. She's got to be careful. Just picked up 2 fouls in the blink of an eye. She does produce the strip, though, and another steal. Here's Catalina Gill on the open floor. Gill tries to go with the hook shot. Could not bank in the right-hand layup. Ramsey down the other way. Across the lane, contact, and one. The hoop and the harm. Chatatis with a chance at a traditional 3-point play. And that's already 7 fouls committed in this third quarter by Fort Lee. As Pagan will pick up the personal, her 3rd. Chatatis, though, missing on the foul shot, and that has been an Achilles heel here today for Ramsey. They have missed a lot of foul shots. Inside, and the finish there by Fort Lee. As Lewis got that one to drop. Lewis now with 15 points in the game, 36-21, a 15-point advantage as we're closing in on the final minute of the third quarter here inside East Gymnasium. Road ahead for Fort Lee. They will finish off the regular season on the road at Pascack Valley on February 16th before then coming back home next Monday. A 6 p.m. start time as Fort Lee will be hosting North Hunterdon in the first round of the North 2 Group 3 sectional playoffs. North Hunterdon, the number 13 seed, Fort Lee, the number 4 seed. A reminder, fans, that if you can't join us in person, you could watch the game wherever you may be here, courtesy of the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. As yours truly, Dan Long, will be on the call for that one as we get the postseason play underway here at the home of the Bridgemen. As Fort Lee going to be hosting North Hunterdon come Monday night, 6 p.m. here from East Gym. This could be a big result for Fort Lee and build their confidence heading into the postseason. Ramsey, a very good team, 15-9 on the season. Team that qualified for the Bergen County tournament lost to Fairlawn in their first round game. Second place team in the Big North Patriot, with the likes of Riverdale, Westwood, Mahwah, Indian Hills, and Pascack Hills. Fort Lee already has claimed the championship in the Big North American Division. Rosen took her defender right off the dribble, and the floater on the baseline falls. Amanda Rosen with 13 points. Good possession there for Ramsey right out of the timeout. 13-point lead for Fort Lee. Under 40 seconds left to go. Evazoglu saving that one. That was a blind pass that nearly led to the turnover. Lewis sets and fires and swishes home the three. Second made three of the game for Janelle Lewis. She's got 18, a game-high 18. Fort Lee leads by 16, 39-23. Nice drive and dish. Mid-range jumper, no good. Tipped around by Rosen. And they're going to say last touch, though, off of Fort Lee last. 8.2 seconds left to go in the third. So the Rams with another possession here and another opportunity to pull a little closer. Up top to Rendazzo. Cross court, just saved from going out of bounds. 2 seconds left. Ramsey not aware. They're going to try to get it off in time. They can't, as the buzzer will sound. Great man-to-man defense there in that possession by Fort Lee. And the Bridgemen will take a 16-point lead into the start of the fourth quarter of play, 39-23. Stick around as we'll be back for the start of the fourth here on YouTube. Welcome back inside East Gymnasium. 39-23, Fort Lee on top. And the story has been the defense of the Bridgemen. They put the clamps down after the first quarter where they allowed 13 points against Ramsey. In the last two quarters combined, Fort Lee has held Ramsey to a combined 10 points over the second and third quarters. And have been able to stretch their lead now to 16. Janelle Lewis has been brilliant as always. 18 points in this game. She looks for more. The three falling away, no good. Karam's out in space, and a rebound knocked down by Pensari. Ramsey still with plenty of time as we've just gotten underway at the start of the fourth, but they got to score in bunches here. Solve this defense that has been befuddling them here since the end of the first quarter. Good recovery defense up top by Fort Lee, a team that averages allowing only 40 points a game to opponents. Three-pointer by Rosen, no good. Rebound underneath by Pagan. That has also been another story. Fort Lee has been so adept at making it one and done. They are not giving up offensive rebounds here today. That time caught in the air and led to the turnover, but Rosen gives it right back. Here's Jones from straight away, no good. Offensive rebound by Evazoglu. Blocked away once again by Rosen. Pagan saves possession back up top to Lewis. Hausman open, near side, no good. Tipped away, Pagan once again, offensive rebound. Evazoglu fouled on her way up. And that's the story of this game in a microcosm. Fort Lee dominant on the offensive glass. Second, third, fourth opportunities that eventually leads to Evazoglu's opportunity at the foul line. Eliseva Zoglu now with 5 points in the game after rattling in her third made foul shot. She's 3 for 3 here this afternoon. Second foul shot also good. 6 points for the starting center, the senior in the middle, number 12, Eliseva Zoglu. Fort Lee leads by 18 against Ramsey, a team with 15 wins on the season. Fort Lee is looking in big-time form here today. Open shooter, three-pointer though, left short. Schwadenweda with the offensive rebound. Taylor again, this time with a mid-range jumper, no good. Rosen with the putback. So, third time's a charm on that possession for Ramsey. 15 points now in the game for Amanda Rosen. 41-25, the deficit facing Ramsey. That'll help. Taylor with the interception and clean block the other way as Ramsey was trying to get the layup. There's going to be a timeout on the floor with 5:57 left to go in the fourth. After Julia Taylor had the steal and was trying to get up to the rim with it and got blocked away. There was no call. It was a clean block. So 41-25, the lead for Fort Lee. But you know that Ramsey might have one last push in them here as we are in the fourth quarter. Then Ramsey will be the number 4 seed, just like Fort Lee in their respective bracket. They'll be hosting number 13 seed West Milford. Fort Lee will be hosting North Hunterdon here at East Gymnasium on Monday at 6 p.m. So please note that start time, a 6 p.m. start time here inside East Gymnasium. Fort Lee looking for their first win against Ramsey since 2020. Their defense has been doing the job so far here this afternoon. Inbound for the Rams. Quickly off the inbound. Jump shot is up. Trickles off the rim twice, and then Pagan with a rebound. Outlets it over to Lewis. Lewis over to Jones. Jones sets and fires. Her shot from outside has been short since knocking down a 3 back in the first quarter. Ramsey saves the possession under their own rim. Kind of been interesting to see. Fort Lee has not taken off their foot off the gas pedal. They've been operating quick sets, quick possessions, even when they're trying to salt away a victory here. Saved just before going past the midcourt stripe by McGurr. McGurr straight away. Stolen away by Lewis. Great anticipation by number 2. And Janelle Lewis now, for the 19th time this season, has scored at least 20 points in a game. Just unbelievable pure scorer. And you saw her just waiting there for that play to develop. There's a hard foul administered. That take to the rim. That'll stop the clock with 4:52 left to go. It's going to be 2 shots as it was in the act of shooting. And that foul is going to go against Ava Zoglu. So for Ava Zoglu, that will be her 4th. So the starting center has to be wary of 4 personal fouls now. As Ramsey can't get that one to drop from the foul line. 9 misses at the foul line here this afternoon for the Rams. Not going to help you out in a big game like this against a team the caliber of Fort Lee as well. Not able to cash in on the freebies there. Good hustle play, though. Throw it inside. Rosen, she's looking at why there was no call on the foul that was not called. Possession is still kept alive for the Rams, though. Rosen from deep swishes it home. Rosen's first made 3 of the game. She's got 18 to lead the scoring for Ramsey. Hope still alive here for the Rams, but time starting to become a factor. They do force the turnover. Randazzo in the open floor. McGurr nearly dribbled it off her own foot. Recovers it, though. Rosen inside the lane, kick out. Here's a 3-point look. No good. Rosen tried to grab it. Ball is still loose. And then a collision ensues, and this is where the foul difficulty plays a part for Fort Lee. They were trying to hustle for that one. It's a foul whistled against the Bridgemen, and that's their 19th foul. So it stops the clock, sends Ramsey to the line, shooting 1 and 1. It'll be double bonus the rest of the way and every ensuing foul. And Dazzo missing on that foul shot, but again, another offensive rebound by Pansari. She had the initial offensive rebound that eventually led to the three knocked down by Rosen, but then that pass a little too hot to handle the near side off of the hands of Randazzo, and it's going to be possession upcoming for Fort Lee with 3:52 left to go. Timeout on the floor. Fort Lee halfway home in this fourth quarter. It's one of their bigger wins of the season. The Bridgemen on top of Ramsey, 43-28. Hope you're enjoying this one on YouTube. Lead is 15 for Fort Lee, but it doesn't feel like a comfortable 15. You feel like Ramsey's due to go on a long sustained run here just because they've been bottled up for the majority of this game by the Fort Lee defense. Now they're starting to see a couple of shots from the outside begin to fall. They have only connected on 2 3-pointers in this game. One just moments ago by Amanda Rosen. Full court pressure being administered here by the Rams. 3:52 remaining in the fourth quarter. 15-point lead for Fort Lee. Lewis inbounds it up top to Pagan. Pagan does a good job of getting it past the midcourt stripe and handing it back into the hands of Lewis. Let's see if Fort Lee is going to be trying to value possessions a little bit more and run a little more clock. Clock is on their side. Ava Zoglu playing with 4 fouls, getting it up top to Catalina Gill. Gill averages around 8 points per game, held to only 3 points today. As that's tipped out of bounds, and they're going to say, I think the officials are going to talk with one another. One referee had possession going to Ramsey. The other on the baseline was saying that it should stay with Fort Lee. And they will decide, and rightfully so. It looked from our vantage point, too, that that was a clear turnover. 43-28, so Ramsey keeping alive in this game because of their defense. Dumping it down low, Randazzo back up top. Gurr's just not been able to find her shooting form so far in this game. Ava Zoglu, that was close. Almost had her hand in the cookie jar there. Again, another foul for number 12, and she's fouled out of this game. Ball turned over once again by Fort Lee. Bridgemen limping to the finish line here. Under 3 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter. Sloppy play abound for both sides. Layla Jones with a steal from behind. And now Catalina Gill trying to get the defender off her back shoulder. Getting it over now to Janelle Lewis. Lewis with a game-high 20. Lewis right to the rim. Rimmed in and out. Offensive rebound by Pagan. Her putback also can't drop. 43-28, it remains this way. But Ramsey also running out of time. Now it finds their leading player, Rosen, again from deep. Second made 3 of the fourth quarter. And now Ramsey back to within 12. They trailed by as many as 18 in this game. Now Lewis is fouled, as that will be only the 15th foul against the Rams, so they still have a foul to give before that would send Fort Lee to the line in a single bonus situation. 2:07 left to go. The well is run dry a little bit offensively now for the Bridgemen. Fort Lee has scored only 4 points so far in this quarter. Now to Lewis. Janelle Lewis. Dribble drive, feeding her teammate, and there's a big conversion underneath by Pagan. 45-31. Under 2 minutes now left to go here in the fourth quarter. Ramsey cannot afford to take too much time in their possessions here. They got to get things going quickly Amanda Rosen now with 21 points. She's the leading scorer in this game. Janelle Lewis, 20 points, the lead, Fort Lee. Around the perimeter, here's Rosen. Woodley's got to make sure to account for where she is at all times. Here's a three, that one was blocked. Found its way inside, and Rosen, the beneficiary. The bounce came into the hands of number 33, and she finishes it off inside. Now it's back down to a 12-point lead for Fort Lee. Another foul administered quickly as McGurr picks up her third personal, team 6, so no more fouls to give for Ramsey. Every foul would send Fort Lee to the line, shooting 1-1 for the remainder of this game. 1:15 and counting left to go in the fourth. 12-point lead for the Bridgemen. Looking to zero in on their 20th win of the season. Lewis, wildly out of control, missed it. Inside, Pagan again cleans up as Sophia Pagan has been a dynamo on the boards. Sophia had 13 rebounds last time we saw her here at home against Park Ridge. She might be coming up on 13 boards again. That three no good, and that might be the last attempt here for Ramsey. Long pass is tracked down by Layla Jones. Jones will set and fire. Didn't need it. Airballed it. And it's taken in by Ramsey. And Kelly Lane not happy about that shot selection. Time is on the side of Fort Lee. Here's an air ball this side. Ramsey, good hustle play. Over the near side by Schwadenwida. As we're coming up on the final 20 seconds of regulation. Ramsey throws that one out of bounds, though. But what a performance, certainly defensively here by the Bridgemen. Holding Ramsey to 33 points right now with only 18.6 seconds left to go. 14 points underneath their per-game scoring average for Ramsey. As Lewis still weaving her way through the defense, missed it. Ramsey collects it, now with 5 seconds left to go in the game. Rams looking for one final shot right before the buzzer. That shot is off the mark. And what a performance here at home by Fort Lee. And a game that had the feel of a postseason affair. Fort Lee's defense showing that they could be serious contenders coming up in the North 2 Group 3 sectional playoffs as they hold Ramsey again to only 33 total points in the game. They gave up in the last 3 quarters alone a combined 20 points to the Rams after allowing 13 in the first quarter. As Fort Lee will power their way to a 20-win season. They're now 20-5 on the year. Ramsey with a defeat will fall to 15-10. Again, Ramsey will finish off their regular season at home on the 16th against Hackensack before hosting West Milford in the first round of the North 1 Group 2 sectional playoffs on the 21st. Fort Lee will travel to Pascack Valley to finish off their regular season on the 16th before being back home here on the 20th to take on North Hunterdon in the first round of the North 2 Group 3 sectional playoffs. A reminder, fans, that you will be able to join us for that sectional playoff game at 6 p.m. on the 20th here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. So that'll do it for our broadcast coverage. Again, Fort Lee victorious by a final score of 47-33 over Ramsey. Thank you to our camera operator, Renee Matisich, and our producer, Dimitri Nanis. And I'm Dan Long saying so long, and thanks for watching Fort Lee Girls Basketball on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. Take care, everybody.